job, guys. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, boys and girls. We started today about, actually, if you've been to academic awards before, we typically started about 2 o'clock. But because it really doesn't end up to about 3:10, our dismissal time, we moved it back a little bit. So did you notice that 2:15? Where are all the children? Where are all the children? They were outside waiting for somebody with the key to come on. So glad you guys made it. Sorry you were standing out in the cold for a little bit. We were all in here wondering where you were. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. I know it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it is so difficult to get out of work or your other obligations. We really do appreciate you coming and spending time with us to celebrate the academic achievement of our students. Today is about academic achievement. Some students will be recognized for honor roll. Some students will be recognized for doing a great job and really working hard and having what we call a persistence award. We always have someone come out to share with us just some words of wisdom and some inspiration for you guys. And today, first of all, before we introduce our special guest, after high school comes college. All right, after high school comes college. We all know that. But after elementary school comes middle school. So do you think that when you are done here, you just forget about everything that you learned here in the no excuses philosophy? No. So Mr. Hall, you're done. I would like to introduce David Hall. He is the principal of Black Mountain Middle School.
Yeah.
And some of you will see him very, very soon. So, Mr. Hall.
First off, I just want to let you guys know how excited I am to be here because, and especially be part of the recognition you guys are going through today, and parents I would include you as well. It's really an honor to be a part of a recognition of your hard work. I didn't have to do anything, I just show up. But you guys were the ones who were going to be recognized for the work that you've done today. I want to talk a little bit about something that all you 5th graders anyway are going to hear about next week when our counselors and myself and a few of our students come to talk about, and that's the transition on to middle school. When you go to middle school, if you don't have, how many of you guys have an older brother or sister who were in middle school? So you know a little bit what to expect, and that really does help. But if you don't, even if you do, to go through it yourself is a little different. But when you go into middle school, you're suddenly going from a situation where you might have one teacher, maybe even 2 teachers at the most, maybe going back and forth, but you're used to one main teacher, being a teacher, to maybe having as many as 4 in a single day. You're used to going from having, PE maybe a couple times a week to every single day. Or maybe doing a band, practicing an instrument a few times a week, every single day. And also the academic rigor, even as it should, it gets a little tougher each grade level. You're going to be challenged a little more each time. So what you're doing now, what you're developing now in terms of work habits, in terms of your expectations for doing well, those are so important when you're going on to middle school, and as I tell my middle school students, when you're going on to high school, or what they tell them in high school, when you're going on to college and beyond, even beyond college, and when you go out to get a job. Those habits that you have are just incredibly important. And the difference I see between kids who are successful and to be successful adults are those who have developed those successful habits. Whether you call them persistence, whether you call them character counts, whether you call them habits of mind, they all mean the same thing. They mean that you are developing habits that are healthy, that are good, and that are going to serve you well. So one of the things I want to talk a little bit was about the importance of those things, because when I see kids struggle, it's because they've oftentimes gotten into bad habits. Maybe habits of doing homework, like, you guys know what procrastination means? Who knows what procrastination is? Yeah, can you tell us? Take a guess. Good. So what does it mean? What do you do if you have work to do, if you're a procrastinator? You do it right away or do you put it off? So, does anybody know? Can anybody help her? Yeah. Last minute. And that's something that happens all too often. You were really close to this. Thanks for helping, bro. To procrastinate means you put things off. And that's a really bad habit to get into. Not coming to school regularly on time, being tardy all the time, or too often. That's a bad habit to get into. So what you can do to help with that is you can help with developing good habits. And that's always making sure that you're really good about scheduling your work. You're always good about asking questions. Questions are a great thing. You know, a lot of times people are embarrassed to ask questions because they're afraid that they might look or feel stupid. Quite honestly, you ask a question. I know your teachers tell you this every day. If you ask a question, there's about 5 or 6 kids behind you who want to know the same thing. They're just too afraid to ask that same question. So asking questions, being inquisitive, being curious is a really, really good thing. What some of you are going to be awarded about or recognized for today, persistence, or what I call resilience, is a really, really good thing. Because we can't always all be successful at something the very first time. And really, the payoff is to keep trying again, to learn what you did well, and to learn from what you didn't do so well, and to try again. But persistence is incredibly important habit to learn. So those habits of mine are very important. The one thing, too, and I want to tie this into character counts, because I know this is emphasized very, very strongly in this school. And I'm really pleased to see all the parents here, because as much as I'd like to take credit in middle school for our kids' character, and maybe even the teachers and everybody here, it's really the parents who have a huge part to play in that. And I want to thank you guys, and I want to recognize you too for bringing to us students who have those character counts traits, those great citizenship and work habits, and just an ethic that you guys reinforce at school too. And so part of the recognition today, I hope you guys take credit for it too, because you're a critically important part of that. But those things are really, really important to make sure that we have going into the next level, whether it's middle school to high school, or high school on to college, or college on to a really successful career and job. I had to write down some real quick notes, so I wouldn't forget anything that I said. The other thing that that really good habits do also is give you options. The worst thing that can happen when you go on, especially when you're way in high school and ready to apply for college, is to have those options limited. Even if all you want to do, all you maybe can do for a lot of reasons is a community college, to have the option to apply for a 4-year school, to have the option to apply for a really good program, even in other types of training types of school. Those are really great options to have. And the more you can develop those academic skills and those good habits of mind, the more options you're going to have. And the more you're going to feel like you have choices. A frustrating part when you get to be 17 or 18 years old is to feel like your options are that big because of as a consequence of things that you didn't do when you were younger. And I got to tell you, working up with high school kids, to know that a lot of times their regret is, gosh, I remember if I were only in the 3rd or 4th grade again, and I would have gotten those good habits and those things that I would have learned that would really help me, that would have been the time that I could really develop those and really use those skills. So that's why you guys have to think about that. Even if it's further down the road, all the talk about college that you do, that's great because you have a goal to work toward. But that's not enough. You got to understand what it takes to get into college. The grade pointers, the understanding of taking as rigorous a class as you can, challenging yourself as much as you can academically, making sure that you're aware of what other options are out there when you're applying for college. Those are things that you can start doing now. And those are goals that you can set for yourself now. Because it's not unrealistic to assume that those things that you're doing now build towards that end. Okay, that's really, really, really important. The other thing that I want you guys to understand too, it's really cool to get awards. I love getting awards and being rewarded, being recognized. Because your parents are here, your grandparents, aunts and uncles are here, your teachers are here, everyone's here to celebrate you. But you need to remember sometimes that you need that intrinsic reward too. Sometimes you're not going to get recognized for every single little thing that you do. Sometimes it's important to understand that you just need to feel good about doing a good job. Even if someone's not there to give you an award or a pat on the back or a smile or whatever, sometimes you do it just for yourself. And that's what we call intrinsic motivation. That intrinsic means coming from within, okay? We want to come from within with our motivation too. Because as cool as it is to get rewarded, or recognized, we need to understand that we're doing it for us. We're doing it for our future. You're doing it for yourselves. And you need to be proud and take pride in that in and of itself, okay? That intrinsic reward, that intrinsic motivation is really, really important, particularly when you go to the other side of, again, going back to the resilience or the persistence. Because that intrinsic motivation will get you through those tough times. I guarantee you, whether it's middle school next year, or high school in the future, or college, there are going to be times when you're going to be challenged, and you're going to think, wow, gosh, I used to be able to sail through this math class, and now it's getting hard. Or I used to really know science really well, but gosh, the science I'm just not getting like I used to. That's the time when that intrinsic motivation will pay off. Because you'll go, I know I can do that if I just work hard enough. If you don't give up, if you have that persistence, if you have that resilience to try again, that's what's really going to cause you to learn. That's when you really learn things. If things come to you so easily, too easily, sometimes you take that for granted. The best things, the most rewarding things in life are usually those things that you work the hardest to achieve. And that's why it's so important to understand that persistence is one of the best qualities you can develop. You need to be persistent about your learning. You need to be persistent about those things that you don't learn easily. Because the harder you work for it, the sweeter it is when you get it. The more you're going to feel more internally motivated, the more proud you're going to be of yourself. And that really speaks to the kind of person you are, the character of the person you are, the people who are the most motivated. So today, when we go through this recognition today, and when I'm shaking your hand, I also want you guys to look inward and say, what did I do to get this award? What did I do? And reflect on it. We don't reflect enough. So sometimes we need to think about all the hard work you did to get that award or get that recognition that you're deserving, that you're going to get today. Think about that yourself. And that's what really you should be proud of. Because the work towards something is as important as the goal, as the end result itself. Okay? So take a minute before you come up here, and while you're recognizing everyone else, take a minute to think about what you did to be here today to get recognized. Okay? Look at the reasons why people are recognizing and thinking what you did was a great thing. Because that in and of itself is something that you should be proud of. Okay? And again, I want to thank everybody here. I also, as I said before, the parents, and we have this thing at Black Mountain, it's called Breakfast of Champions, and hopefully you guys will know about that. But that's where we recognize our character counts, people who exhibit character counts traits within each of our disciplines. We do it once a month, and I really like that dinner because we have parents for breakfast. So parents come with the kids for breakfast, and I start that meeting off basically by saying this award, or its recognition, as much as what a great parent you have been, as it is to what great students we're teaching. Because what that does for us outside of school is it acts as a motivator. That single person coming in our classroom and showing all those character count traits acts as a motivator for everybody around them, and as well as the teacher themselves. When we are facing increased class sizes, where teachers are working real hard and feeling maybe discouraged because, oh gosh, the budgets are getting cut and this and that are happening, what they get their energy from, what they draw their inspiration from, are those kids who come to school every day, who work as hard as they can, who are great citizens, who put a smile on that teacher's face because of all the things they see that one student do. So as much as you guys should be proud of yourselves, understand that that's what feeds teachers, that's what feeds us as educators. And that's what makes us proud to work in the Poway Unified School District and have such great supportive parents and have such wonderful examples, not only for our students, but also for ourselves. It reminds us why we do what we do. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over and just thank you guys for allowing me to be here and be part of your ceremony. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hall. Great words to think of and words to live by. As he said, not only for elementary school, not only for middle school, for high school, college, and beyond. All right, we are going to start with Mr. Sandstrom. Representing